Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite a nice item in its own right, but it has a rather unusual feature. It's a 1908, fairly nicely sort of small scale, a school magazine, the Parmitter magazine, I presume Parmitter's school somewhere, and it's a little sort of creased, and the cover's a little sort of scuffed, but it's all intact. The Parmitter magazine, with the editors, school notes, and so on. It's got the typical content: school notes, form notes, gymnastics display report, articles about old boys, a monitor in the making, the man of the hour about the new head boy of the school, a letter from one of the young men at Cambridge who'd been at the school, reporting back, items on cricket and so on. It's a typical school magazine of the period: football results, cricket results, little stories, and so on. There's a report of an old boy there who's now a planter, a sort of rubber planter in Badalla in Ceylon, Ralph or Rafe Rhodes. There he is, sitting with in his sort of jodhpurs on his veranda, nice period picture with his Dachshund dog. But the main interest of the book, as somebody has noted on the cover here, it says Gramophone, page 61, is a boy's article, a 3-page article about a visit to a recording studio. Now, bear in mind, this is 1908, so it's called Graphs, as they were obviously called, recordings called graphs there, and it says, it's astonishing with what care and at what expense gramophone records are made. No doubt some boys will know that an operatic star of the very first magnitude was discovered by the London journalist during the last grand season, as it is called, at Covent Garden. And it talks about recording this star at Tetrazzini, being recorded at the studio. It's written by a boy, so it's in short paragraphs. It says 2 days were spent in obtaining 10 satisfactory records. La Tetrazzini's voice, an orchestra of 25 instrumentalists under the direction of a musical advisor to the Royal Opera Company, were taken to Covent Garden, from Covent Garden to the Gramophone Company's factory near Slough. And the boy gets... it says, Madam must have been very wide awake, for as she sang, her distance from the trumpet had to be varied with the alteration in pitch of her notes, or the high notes would be thin and wiry. So it talks about how the singers were moved around, and it says, from one such record, hundreds, perhaps thousands can be moulded. And it goes on. There are 2 or 3 pages. It gives details of various instruments, the Oxito gramophone. It says, it talks about the boy being present at a Friday night lecture at the Royal Institution about recording. It talks about him going to ask about how recordings are made. It talks about the celluloid discs, the comb, the needle, the whole process of making records in a boyish language, but it's rather interesting because it's 1908, and that's a fairly early date for any information about records being recorded. But there it is, a little article on a visit to a recording studio in a typical wonderful Edwardian school magazine of 1908. There we are. Thanks so much. Bye.